So guys, welcome to our channel once again. In today's video on our biology JAMB exam revision series, we're going to answer 20 questions on meaning of growth. So these are repeated questions in your JAMB, so you should stay till the end of this video in order for you to grab something from this lesson. So you already know what to do. You can always pause the video at any point to try out to see if you can answer the question before we provide the answer to each of the questions thereafter. So guys, let's start with the first question here, which says growth is mainly apical, growth is specific with definite shape, growth is throughout life. So guys, these three statements here, we have a question based on these three, and the question says which of the above correctly describes the growth pattern in plants? So we have I, and I only, I and I only, I and I only, I and I only. So guys, the answer to this question is I and I. So the three statements actually are correct and they describe the growth pattern in plants. So in plants, growth is mainly apical, growth is specific with definite shape, and growth is throughout life. So guys, let's look at the next question. That's question number 2. It says, in an experiment to investigate the effect of nitrogen on the growth of plants, the substrate should be a medium of A, cow dung, B, clay soil, C, washed sand, D, sawdust. So guys, the answer to this question is option C, and that's washed sand. In an experiment to investigate the effect of nitrogen on the growth of plants, the substrate should be a medium of washed sand, and this is because in washed sand there is no nutrients, so this will allow the person conducting the experiment to control the amount of nitrogen that the plants receive. So guys, that's the answer to this question, and that's option C. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 3. It says, for growth to occur in organisms, the rate of A, food storage must be high. B, catabolism must exceed anabolism. C, anabolism must exceed that of catabolism. And D, food storage must be low. So guys, for growth to occur in organisms, the rate of anabolism must exceed that of catabolism. So both anabolism and catabolism are metabolic processes where anabolic process refers to the process of building up and catabolic process refers to the process of breaking down. So guys, it makes sense because the rate at which building up occurs should be greater than the rate at which breakdown occurs, and option C is the correct answer to this question. So guys, let's look at the next question. That's question number 4. It says, the basis of growth involves the following processes except A, cell differentiation, B, cell division, C, cell reduction, D, cell enlargement. So guys, the answer to this question is option C, and that's cell reduction. The process of growth involves cell division, cell differentiation, and cell enlargement. But guys, cell reduction is not involved in the process of growth. So guys, let's look at the next question. That's question number 5. It says, the basis of growth involves the following processes except cell reduction, B, cell division, C, cell differentiation, and D, cell enlargement. So guys, again, for this question, we know that the answer is cell reduction. Cell reduction is not involved in growth. So let's look at the next question. That's question number 6. It says, the most important enzyme that induces the ripening of fruits is A, gibberellins, B, ethylene, C, indole acetic acid, and D, cytokinin. So guys, the answer to this question is ethylene. Ethylene gas is used commercially to ripen fruits like the tomatoes, banana, pears, and rest. So it's also worthy of note that ethylene can as well be explosive if it reaches high concentration. So it has to be used cautiously. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 7. It says, the most reliable estimate of growth is measuring changes in A, surface area, B, length, C, dry weight, D, volume. So guys, the answer to this question is option C, and that's the dry weight. Growth is actually an increase in physical size and can be measured in various ways. However, measuring the changes in dry weight is considered the most reliable way because it is not affected by water content, and we know that water content can vary significantly and affect other measurements like the volume, the surface area, the length, and so on. But guys, measurement of dry weight is not affected by water content, and so it can be considered the most reliable. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 8. It says, plant growth can be artificially stimulated by the addition of A, abscisic acid, B, ethylene, C, gibberellin, and D, quinine. So guys, the answer to this question is option C, and that's the gibberellin. Gibberellins are plant hormones actually that regulate growth and influence various developmental processes, including the stem elongation, germination, dormancy, flowering, sex expression, enzyme indication, and the rest. So guys, this plant hormone can be added artificially to stimulate plant growth in various ways. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 9. It says, the most reliable estimate of growth is by measuring changes in A, dry weight, B, length, C, surface area, D, volume. So guys, just like we've explained earlier on, all these other ways can be used to measure changes and growth as well. But guys, the most reliable is the dry weight because it's not affected by the quantity of water contained in a mass. So guys, we'll go with the option A, and that's dry weight. So let's look at the next question. Here we have a diagram, and we are to use this diagram to answer the question here. The question says, the optimum temperature for growth of organism is A, 25 degrees Celsius, B, 75 degrees Celsius, C, 50 degrees Celsius, and D, 100 degrees Celsius. So guys, if we observe this graph, we'll see that on the vertical axis here, we have population of given species. And then on the horizontal axis here, we have temperature. So looking at this from the beginning, we'll see that the graph starts to curve upwards from here. You see from zone 1, graph starts to curve upwards till it reaches the peak level at 50 degrees Celsius. So the 50 degrees Celsius here corresponds to the point where the population size of the given species is highest on the vertical axis. So guys, we'll go with the option C here, and that's 50 degrees Celsius. So let's look at the next question, guys, and that's question number 11. The question says, growth include the following except A, meiosis, B, differentiation, C, mitosis, and D, enlargement. So guys, the answer to this question is option A, and that's meiosis. So in growth, there can be cell division, which is mitosis. There is cell differentiation, and then there is cell enlargement. But guys, meiosis only occurs in the sex cells. So it is not used to actually quantify growth in general. So actually we have the processes: cell division, which is mitosis, cell differentiation, and then cell enlargement. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 12. It says, the most reliable estimate of growth is by measuring changes in A, dry length, B, dry volume, C, dry weight, and D, dry area. So guys, this is the third time we are seeing a relative question to this, and it's very important that you understand this concept because it's definitely a very important one since we are seeing it for the third time. So guys, again, the answer to this question is dry weight. And that's the correct answer to this question. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 13. It says, the most reliable estimate of growth is measuring changes in A, volume, B, length, C, surface area, and D, dry weight. So guys, I know you've already guessed rightly the answer to this question, and that's option D, dry weight. So let's look at the next question, guys, and that's question number 14. It says, biological growth refers strictly to an increase in the A, protoplasm of an organism, B, number of organisms, C, size of an organism, D, development of form. So guys, biological growth actually refers to an increase in the protoplasm of an organism. So the protoplasm is just the living part of the cell that is often referred to as the physical basis of life. So an increase in the protoplasm leads to an increase in the cell size and number. So it's important for us to understand that growth is always seen from the basis of the cell, that's the protoplasm in other words. So in growth, we consider cell division, that's division of the protoplasm, if we have to put it in that manner. So we consider cell division, we consider cell differentiation, and then cell enlargement. So the biological growth refers strictly to an increase in the protoplasm of an organism. So let's look at the next question, guys, and that's question number 15. It says, primary growth in plants is brought about by the activity of the A, mesophyll, B, meristem, C, epidermis, D, endodermis. So guys, the answer to this question is the meristem. Primary growth in plants, which results in elongation of the plant body, is brought about by the activity of the meristem. So the meristem cells are undifferentiated or partially differentiated cells that can divide and produce new cells. So they are responsible for the growth and development of plants. The other options here given, such as the endodermis, the epidermis, and mesophyll, are specific types of plant tissues. So they do not contribute to primary growth. Guys, let's look at the next question here. And that's question number 16. It says, which of the following group of activities in plants is brought about by gibberellins? So we have A, cell elongation, B, main stem elongation, C, rapid cell division, and D, tropic response. So guys, the answer to this question is option B, and that's main stem elongation. So gibberellins are actually responsible for regulating growth, and they also influence various developmental processes, including stem elongation, germination, dormancy, flowering, sex expression, enzyme induction, and so on. So guys, the answer to this question is option B, and that's main stem elongation. So let's look at the next question, guys. Question number 17. It says, use the diagram below to answer this question. So here we have a diagram, more like a graph here, and vertically upwards we have number of fused cells, and then horizontally on the x-axis we have time. So we'll see the graph curving upwards with particular increase in time. We'll see the number of fused rising until it flattens. So guys, let's look at what we are asked to do here. The question says the part labeled I represents the A, steady phase, B, lag phase, C, stationary phase, and D, log phase. So guys, the answer to this question is option B, and that's the lag phase. So let's look at the next question, and that's question number 18. It says, a plant with a relatively short height can be stimulated to grow to normal height by the application of A, thyroxine, B, abscisic acid, C, gibberellins, and D, cytokinin. So guys, I believe by now you should have known the answer to this question, guys, and that's option C. Gibberellins can actually be used to stimulate these plants to grow. So due to the fact that it will lead to stem elongation, germination, and so on. So guys, let's look at the next question, and that's question number 19. It says, which of the following statements best describe the process of growth in living organisms? A. Growth is the increase in size and number of cells of an organism. B. Growth is the transformation of an organism from an immature stage to a mature stage. C. Growth is the reproduction and production of offspring by an organism. And D. Growth is the development of specialized structures and functions in an organism. So guys, again, we should have guessed rightly the answer to this question, and that's option A. Growth is the increase in size and number of cells of an organism. So always remember that in growth, we have cell division, we have cell differentiation, and we have cell enlargement. So guys, let's go ahead and look at the last question. That's question number 20. It says, which of the following statements is true regarding cell growth? A. Cell growth is solely influenced by external factors. B. Cell growth involves an increase in the number of organelles within a cell. C. Cell growth occurs by cell division. And D. Cell growth is a continuous process throughout the life of a cell. So guys, the answer to this question is option C. And it says cell growth occurs by cell division. So this is where we end the class for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're not a subscriber. Also, ensure to share this video with your friends to enable us reach out to more people. If you have any question regarding this video, please drop your question on the comment section and we'll be sure to give you a response. Thank you for watching this video and see you next time.